Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Show Up with Christine Chang podcast. I'm Christine Chang, and I'm here with Kelsey Chittick. Welcome back to the podcast.
It's so good to be here.
Thanks. I don't have many people come back, but a lot of people liked the first episode we did.
Well, it's because we talked about sex.
We did.
It was one sentence that really got people.
That was my highest TikTok video ever.
It was about blowjobs.
2 million views.
It's classy. I've always been a classy widow. Yeah, I think it kind of got taken out of context of the whole conversation we had about it, but it did resonate. And, it's interesting because it's such a different experience I'm in. That was maybe 2.5 years ago.
Yes.
Or 2 years ago, probably.
Yep.
Things change.
Okay, that video, if you haven't seen it, we're talking about blowjobs and how after you're married, and we're joking too, right. And saying how, I personally, used to love giving blowjobs, and after a while, it's exhausting, okay? So we're laughing about that. Mm-hmm. And what made it blow up was it was mostly men who were very angry that we were laughing at the fact that we didn't like to give blowjobs.
Right. And then there was a bunch of men that were like, my wife loves it. And we were like, she's lying. No wife loves it. No, but I think it's interesting because I do a sex podcast, which is funny because before my husband passed away, I had had sex with one person. So it's not like I'm this maven out there with all this experience. But, our generation is talking about this stuff more. And I was raised in a home that we didn't speak of this stuff. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't like a Christian fundamentalist home. It was just like, that's just not what classy girls do. And if you're classy, you just don't speak of it and you do it with as few people as possible. And so it's interesting that people want to hear that stuff and people want to talk about it. It's just, how do we make it not raunchy and not gross and just like something that's a fact? Like blowjobs are a fact.
Matter of fact. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's funny the things that people can be really reactive about. I find, at least on social media, sex, mm-hmm. money, people, and exes, I guess.
Yeah, I think they're emotional. I think they all have to do with security and values and big things that we grew up with, that we all come in with a very set mindset going into our teens and 20s. And then when you hit our age, a lot of time people have been through enough that things that we used to believe, we don't believe anymore. And then people argue about it because they're hot topics and they matter. Sex matters. Money matters.
I want to hear about dating since last time you came in, because that's fun. Dating in your 40s is different from when you're younger.
Yeah. Fun is not the word I would use to describe dating.
No, it can be. That's what my book's about, is how to shift to the mindset where it gets fun.
Yeah, and I've tried to make it fun. I think that some of us are just serial monogamists, which is obviously who I am. Not because of any reason other than I just like to feel safe over everything else. So I have a bunch of friends who love to go out and meet different guys. It makes me crazy. I don't know how to do it very well. I always depend on other people to introduce me to somebody that knows somebody, and that seems to work for me. I wish I was cooler. I wish I could get on Tinder and just swipe the shit out of something, but...
Have you tried?
No, I don't, because I feel like everybody on that wants to have sex, and I need you to have a full STD panel. I need to know everybody's got a vasectomy. I need to be on... I need birth control. I need settings. I need to know I'm not going to be roofied. For me, I'm not loose. I'm not a loose, fun person. So Tinder's not for me, right?
Okay. Well, yeah, I think you have to be open.
Oh no, closed here. This place is closed. No, I'm open when I feel safe, or if I know you from somebody.
Okay.
But I do need somebody to know somebody.
So right now, when you date, you meet them through a mutual connection.
Right. And also I'm older and I've got older kids. And so there's a line for me. If you want kids, I'm not the person for you. Mm. I guess I've never had one night stands. That doesn't really get, the longer I'm in a relationship, the more I enjoy sex, the more I enjoy the person. I know other people who get really bored after 3 or 4 dates. I think it's just how you're built. I was married for so long, and I miss having a husband, but there are parts I don't miss being married. There's a lot of freedom in not having to bounce someone's energy off of you all day. So that's what's fun about dating and meeting new people, is if you don't want to talk to them, you don't have to. They go home. And I never thought I would experience that, but I'm like, bye-bye.
Well, I'm seeing more couples who still, like, they give each other space still. Like, my mom and her partner don't live together. They've been together 25 years.
Yeah.
They don't live together. It works for them.
I don't know that I'll ever share a bed again with somebody. I mean,
That's
I
more
really
practicality. Do you want to sleep well?
Yeah, Bert and Ernie knew what they were talking about. Or who else was it? There was another sitcom. Yeah, I mean, I think I have this idea of like having two queen beds.
Yes.
And everyone has their own comforter and everyone has their own sound machine. But yeah, I will say the benefit of being on your own, I think, is sleeping alone.
It is.
It truthfully is one of the greatest gifts in the world. To be able to wake up and not be bothered by someone, to not have a man snoring. I miss being cuddled. I miss being held. I miss having someone, but mostly I'm happy. I'm happy there.
Absolutely. Well, with the two queens, like, you can just cuddle, and then when it's time to sleep, you just go over.
When I was married, whenever we'd go away on vacation, we'd always get the two queens.
Beds.
We would we were like, why would we force ourselves to sleep together when we could have our own spots?
Right.
Just an arm length away.
Right. Yeah. Especially if your partner's bigger. Like, Pete is really tall too. And sometimes if we're, on vacation, or it's a smaller bed, like a queen full size, why?
It's a no. So yeah, I mean, I think dating, I've learned a lot about myself through dating. I've learned what I like, what I don't like.
What are some of the things that you've learned about yourself recently?
Oh gosh, that's a lifetime of things.
Okay.
I've learned that I'm more fun than I thought I was. The version I was in my marriage was built on 20 years of being with the same person and growing up with somebody. And we had very defined roles that we both enjoyed. But I was uptight, I was neurotic, I was type A, and he was fun, and he was outgoing, and he was free-spirited. And when that went away, I took on some of his traits because I didn't have to balance out the other side of him, the good or the bad. So it feels like a new life in many ways. Because I'm fun now, and I try things, and I go places, and I travel, and I have no idea what my life will look like. And I think when you're married and you have kids, or even if you're just married, you kind of play out that you'll be with this person for the rest of your life, and this is what you'll do. And I have this unique experience to have no clue where I'll be, a year or two from now, which most people maybe feel in their 20s, but I didn't.
Ah, that's right, because you guys met young.
19. Yep.
So when you said you were neurotic and like type A when you're married, do you feel like you kind of had to be?
I feel like early on he and I kind of found our spots, and I loved that he was fun and he was outgoing, and he loved that I like wiped down the countertops, and I was really into home and kids, and it allowed us to do what we wanted to do. I wanted to have babies young. I wanted to have a family. I like sweeping. I like laundry.
Vacuuming.
Yeah, I don't mind that stuff. I like busy work. Okay. He liked to go see the world. He liked long conversations out at night with people. He's a night owl. I like to go to bed early, or I used to, which funny is now that's all shifted. So it just made me think a lot about how relationships really do mold who you are, because everything is energy.
Yeah.
So
you're spending a lot of time with that person.
Yeah, and I don't think I understood that in my 20s and 30s, that I was only myself in juxtaposition to him.
Yes.
When you're a unit. And so what happens in your 40s, whether you get divorced or you lose somebody you love, or your kids leave, when energy changes, you have this great opportunity to transform into whatever else you want. And so that has been kind of a gift of a lifetime. And I always think he would be so excited for me now, because he always used to say, like, can you loosen up? And I was like, how can I when you are the loosest of the loose? Like he would like stay out all night in Vegas when we had kids, and he'd come home at like 6 a.m. and I'd be like, where the hell have you been? He was like, the blackjack table was hot. He's like, we were making tons of money. Everyone was cheering. They didn't want me to leave. And I'd be like, that's awesome. Like, how much did you make? And he'd be like, $60. And I was like, I was looking for 6,000 because you just rolled in at 6 o'clock and we have children here. But that was him. He just was like in the moment. And somehow now I've found a way to be in the moment like he was. And I don't have anxiety anymore.
What are some examples of it when you say, like, I'm fun now? And like, share some stories. What have you done recently?
I party. I go out.
You do? I looked at your Instagram.
I travel. I go to places. I go to Europe. I do. And I mean, of course, all these things, I'm so grateful to be able to do it. But even before, I don't think I wouldn't have gotten on planes as often. I just had a lot of desire to be home and to kind of just stay in my group, in my neighborhood, stay with my friends. Mm-hmm. because when Nate died, that whole world shifted. I was no longer his wife. I no longer had a partner in raising my kids. Like everything shifted. So I somehow shifted into a totally different group of people. I still love all of my friends, but I had to find people that didn't know me then.
Let's talk about that. You're very good actually at making friends. And also you have a lot of friends that you keep in relation with who, and on the last podcast episode that we did, you said they drive me crazy because we're so different.
Yeah.
Yet they're still in your life. And I actually have trouble with that because I automatically go from, sometimes when values change and things like that, I will admit my loyalty is not the best. Like sometimes I'm just like, is this not a good fit anymore? Mm-hmm. Right? So I would love to get some advice from you actually, from friends, maybe old friends that maybe everyone's kind of changed in their own way, which is great. How to navigate that. And when you enter new chapters as well, making new friends.
Yeah. I mean, it's so true. I grew up in the South, and, a lot of my girlfriends have very different religious beliefs, political beliefs, and we all kind of battled through that a little bit during COVID and things like that. But I truly value history deeply. So memories are important to me. Experiences are important to me. So if I went through things with you in high school, like I'll love you forever for that. And because we can talk about that, I love the people that Nate and I were friends with when we were married and we raised our kids with. A lot of them I don't have as much in common with anymore because we're just in different stratospheres. Mm-hmm. But I love what we built back then. So I think one of the things I do is I try not to. I'm very clear on how different many of my friends and I feel about things and how we may have outgrown each other in different ways. But I'm so great. The gratitude of what we went through together and the stories and the laughter that go along with it override my annoyance with their whatever it is,
Has anything ever caused you to have a falling out or not be friends with someone anymore?
During COVID, it got dicey around, racism discussions, political discussions, COVID discussions. It just felt like everybody was really holding pretty tightly to their views, including me. Mm-hmm. And if I could go back, I would probably stay looser because I start to, as time goes on, and I learned this too through losing somebody, your opinions change based on your circumstances or your experiences. And so what I've tried to do is go, well, they live there and that's what they see every day. Mm-hmm. I live here and this is what I talk about every day. Of course we're different. Mm-hmm. It would be weird if we weren't.
That's true.
And I do know their hearts. And so as long as I know you have a good heart, like you're a good person,
okay,
I kind of trust that maybe you and I believe deeply in different ways about big things, but I know your heart, so I can trust that we're both trying to get to the same place. We just might do it totally different.
And then what about meeting new people, making new friends? Because a lot of people talk about, or they feel lonely.
Yeah.
Getting into your 30s, 40s, 50s, a lot of people feel lonely.
Yeah. Well, I'm a Cancer, so I have a deep desire for people. And
are you extroverted?
I'm not like Neetha, not like
okay, our mutual friend Neetha.
Yeah,
gets very energized.
No, I do. Small groups are great for me, and I don't like. I'm extroverted, but I need a lot of time alone. I think I'm an introvert. Whatever it is, it's the mix.
Okay.
So I spend a lot of time quiet at home. We have a very quiet home. I don't like people coming over too much. I never have parties at my house. Like maybe one or two girlfriends in their PJs. I don't want a bunch of people over with a big dinner where we're all making food. Like I see a lot of what you all do. Like that gives me anxiety. But I love to go out and then come home. I think for me, again, energy. Like when I meet someone that I love them right away and pretty much forever. Like I knew when I met you, like we would be friends.
We click.
And it's
we like to talk
and then
shit.
we talk shit. And then I was like, she's as mean as I am. Perfect. This will go well.
You're nicer now, actually.
I have gotten nicer.
Is it because you've done healing?
I think I'm just softer.
You're soft.
I'm softer.
I saw on your Instagram you said something. You went somewhere with a girlfriend, I think, last weekend. You said the crowd was interesting.
Right. What I wanted to say was
exactly. I was like, what does she really want to say?
That place was fucked up. I'm telling you, I went to. Well, I don't want to offend people, but I went to the city, and I'm just telling you, there was a weird vibe. I call it a vibe, but really it was a heroin addiction that was everywhere. I was like, what is it that I don't like about this town? Oh, I'm watching a person shoot up with their tongue. Like, this is not what I want. Yeah, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings anymore. I don't need to make fun of people and have it hurt. I think before I had an edge that I don't have anymore. I think when you go through shit too, you go like, God damn, everybody's going through something pretty tough at some point. I have a lot more grace for myself and for other people that are in it. Whatever it is that's miserable, I want to go easy on people. Like Adele said, go easy on me.
Yeah, no, that's nice. I always I want to be kind. Sometimes I forget it though, because, especially if you like humor or you've been attached to a certain way of being for a while, that edginess. There's part of it that I do like, but also balancing it.
Sometimes I watch Seinfeld to remember you can be funny without being mean.
There we go.
And I'm like, it is possible, because it doesn't feel possible sometimes because I spend so much time. I think we do observational comedy. So you're looking and like, look at that fool.
Commenting.
Right. You're commenting, you're judging, you're critiquing, but I never wish anybody poor.
Yes.
But
correct.
I do think they're awful.
Correct.
Right. Right. No.
Yeah, that's the type of humor I know, because from my family, my mom and my sister, I find them so fucking funny.
Right.
My gosh.
And no one's funny in my family, and everyone thinks that I'm mean.
Really? So where did you get your humor from?
I think to survive my family. That's not, I don't know. I mean, my dad is, I know he's not funny. Sarcastic. My dad was really sarcastic, biting, mean humor. So I took that and I just tried to make it funny. I think it's people who watch things and I'm judging, but I'm judging from a good place, but I'm definitely judging. Yeah. Suburbia is a great place to just go for it too. What you see in kids' sports and parents and marriages, it's just a hot mess. And if someone has to talk about it, so I've chosen myself to be the one that calls everybody out. But and I'll call myself out too. I mean, I'm just as ridiculous as anybody else. But yeah, I value people more than anything now. More than anything. I value good people. Good people have shown up since the last 5.5 years, and they've changed my life. So I think that's why I'm so good at making friends, because when I meet somebody and I feel a connection, I'm like, oh, I'm going to stick with you.
Where have you met some of your new friends?
I've just met some really big connectors. So like Anitha. Okay. Mm-hmm. So I think if you're looking for friends, look for the people that have a lot of friends. Mm-hmm. And inside of their group, you'll find 3 or 4.
Ah, that's great advice.
Yeah. So find the connectors in your life. Find the people that you go like, they are out there all the time. Like their life makes me exhausted. Get with them once a month. You'll meet 1 or 2 people at each opportunity, and one of them will be somebody that you really care about. Yeah, that's kind of what I just knew that early on, I had to create a whole nother life, because I love my town and I love it so much, but so much of Nate is in there still that when I am in that world, it feels like I'm going back, but I'm missing something really big. So I get real sad.
I see.
So I knew I needed to push out and create a life that they knew of him, but they weren't sad too.
Growth too, right? Mm-hmm. When you're growing or like moving to a new chapter, I think it's important to surround yourself with new experiences.
Yep. And new places.
I was going to say, you're creating like new memories.
Yeah. And your brain basically is deciding, are you going to live in the past, or are you going to live in the now? And so for me, the only way to live in the present moment was to create a totally different life and be a totally different person, because that one, if I continued to be the old Kelsey, it would just make me sad, because the old Kelsey had a husband and her kids had a dad. And so I didn't want to live in that world and stay in that. And I've seen a lot of widows do that, where you kind of get stuck in what was and
your identity.
Yeah. And you feel like you're almost honoring it, but you're not. That life is over. It's literally over. So that version of you died with the person or the experience or the job or whatever that's over. That version of you is gone. So when you try to walk around in that after it's happened, you feel lost.
Yeah, because you wrote your book called Second Half, correct? And that was part of your healing.
That was great
experience.
Yeah.
Right, to grieve. And that was, it's been 5 years since your husband passed?
Almost 6, 5.5.
Almost 6 years. Okay.
Which is weird, because I think I met you maybe a year or 2 after.
That's right.
The book was great because I told the story, and so I don't have to worry about telling the story. It's in a book, and people read it when they need it. And the book has done, it's kind of changed things for me, just because now I can relate to people, and so I get to talk to people that are going through the same thing, but I have time on my side now, and I can say, I promise you, you'll make it if you so choose. So that's kind of the great work that I've fallen into, which I never thought I would be talking about grief as much as I did. And now I'm kind of passing on grief, or I'm still talk to a lot of people that are early stages of grief, but I'm also talking a lot about like life. What do you do after the shit hits the fan?
Which you're modeling behavior, and you're helping people now being, I don't know what word to use, mentor.
I like guide. Because a lot of people guided me.
That's a great word. Before we started recording, Kelsey and I were talking about the term coach, how we both don't really like the term coach, but there is such thing as a coach.
Yeah. And there's great coaches. I mean, I was a swimmer. I had great coaches. I've had great coaches on a lot of things, writing, things like that, where people that know more than you and know better than you help you.
And encourage you.
Right. Right. And they stay on you and they kind of get tough with you. That's not at all my goal with helping people that are going through. So my work is just anybody going through something hard. Because whether you lose someone or lose money or lose a friendship or lose your health, it's always about letting go of something. And so the work I do, because what helped me the most is people that just sat next to me and said, we'll walk with you. Like, you're never going to be alone. And it wasn't just about me. They would share their problems. And we would, because it helps when you're in a bad spot, you want to know other people are too. You're praying. You're like, I hope you all get a dead husband because I do not like this and I need you to come down with me. Like, I need everyone to be as miserable as I am. And I went through some medical stuff a couple years after that. That was really challenging. And people were just there and they're like, we'll be here. And people took care of me and people showed up. And so I would love to return that favor for people and show up.
Oh my gosh, that's such a gift, because a lot of people, they do, again, feel alone. And I've been there too. And how important it is to share and talk about, because a lot of times you assume you're alone because no one knows. No one actually knows how you're feeling unless you share it first, right? And then from my experience, the more I share it, the more I find people, oh, it's not just me.
Yeah. And everybody's going through something. I don't know there's a way out of that. I think we have times when life is really good. And when you're in them, have fun. That's all I can tell you. I sometimes wake up, I'm like, holy shit, I'm okay today. Like, thank you, God. I'm so happy to be happy that I feel like I'm on drugs all the time because I know how awful it was for so long. And I'll tell you, I'm grateful for that because I don't think I understood it until now. Like, when things are good, people, ride that wave,
Absolutely.
Because you're going to fall off the surfboard again, and then you're going to have to paddle back out. So when you're on the wave, let it fly. And that's kind of the joy I feel right now, and why I want to help people that are maybe drowning is you'll get back up. It's work, and you need help. We all need help, so much help.
Okay, so to feel like you're on drugs all the time, what are some concrete things people can do to start getting there?
I mean, meditation for me is kind of my drug. I was so far in my head. I was so before Nate died, and then once Nate died, and then once I had some issues medically, I needed some space. And so I was adamant about meditating because I was going crazy. I mean, when you're going crazy, you need a little space from whatever it is. And through that practice has given me just a moment to step back and for me to slow down and just to breathe. And for some reason, those three things have changed my life deeply. Just not rushing anymore. And then it kind of has transferred into my regular life. I'm not trying to get anywhere anymore. I spent my first 40 years just achieving everything, whether it be career, scholarships, husband, children, jobs. And now I'm just like, I just try to do my best today. And it sounds cheesy, and I would punch me in my face if I had met me 5 years ago. But it's true. Like, I just kind of trust that if I keep doing the best I can each day, it will be okay. And I think grief taught me how to live in the moment, because you can barely breathe for a long time. So you don't have the luxury of worrying about 6 months from now. You don't think you're going to fucking make it to the afternoon. Same thing with if you get a diagnosis. You quickly get real clear that today is the day you should focus on. So yeah, that's how I kind of started to be just slower. Where's everybody going?
Yeah.
To what end?
With meditation, is it an app that you use?
I do, why have I forgotten his name? I do, it'll come to me. I
Dispenza?
I do Dispenza all the time. So he has a morning and evening. Okay. That's awesome. If you want like a 20-minute kind of deep, but it's just rewiring your whole brain. So I love those. He has a morning and evening. And then I have, I do Insight Timer quite a bit. Okay. There's a lot. Mm-hmm, that's an app. And then it'll come to me, the one I do every morning, but it's left me. That's the other thing. New Kelsey, she doesn't remember things.
This is entering your 40s, I feel.
I don't know names. I can't remember where we're going. But I contribute that to me being just more laid back. I'm like, I don't even know anymore.
If Kelsey remembers, I'll put it in the notes.
Yes. It's Sam. Who's Sam? Sam, his last name, the meditator.
Oh, I don't think I know him.
Yeah, you do.
Do I?
We'll get to it.
Okay.
I said Sam Smith, but that's a singer. Don't listen to him and meditate to that song. I don't know what that is.
Okay. And how long do you meditate every day?
At least 20 minutes, but often 40.
Okay.
I start my day in bed with meditation. Don't worry about sitting up straight, crossing your legs. Lay sideways. Do whatever you want. Just do it. I walk a lot. I walk first thing in the morning every morning on the Strand, which I know I'm lucky to have an ocean near me, but that really changes my life. Kind of starting in nature if you can. Even if you have to get up at 5, it matters.
Do you listen to anything when you walk?
I walk the first 20 minutes in silence and the last 20 minutes like my hip hop playlist.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Balance.
So I walk down one way and I do the same thing and people wonder why, but when you do things repetitively in your life, they become meditative because you don't have to be present. So it's a good thing to be meditative in nature. You can kind of turn off your brain and just be. So those are some of the places where I do more ritualistic things that are just, my body can just, I know what we're doing here. It's different than going on a journey or going to some event and you having those type of spiritual experiences, but you're working for them. The daily ones, you just want to be kind of turned off and just drop into that spot.
Oh, I like that because I think I tend to want like novelty, like let me change and let's go in this direction. And I think because my husband is like meditative for me because he is very grounded and he's very routine. So I feel very safe at home. Mm-hmm. And actually since meeting him, I say like, I feel kind of sleepy, but in a good way because my nervous system is so calm and it's up to me. Like he balances me well because I'm always like, let's go here, let's go to Antarctica and all that. But sometimes
you. Let's go to Antarctica. Most people are like, how about Santa Monica? You're like, Antarctica. Yeah.
But sometimes I do, I get in the mode where I complain. I'm like, why am I always doing the same shit back at home, But you framed it in a way where it's a good, healthy thing. And for me to remember that.
Same like when a meal makes you feel good. It's okay to eat that often.
Yeah.
Because your body is like, I like this.
Yes.
So things like that I pay attention to now. Like what makes me feel good? What makes me feel relaxed? Where do I get triggered? Like I don't drink really. Alcohol has never been good for me since Nate died. It just makes me sad. Eating late, I don't do at all anymore. I try to stop at 7 because I get anxiety. And then, the digestion makes me feel like I'm having a panic attack, but I'm not. I'm just digesting. So you get real meditation and slowing down lets you tune into what works and what doesn't. And that's the beauty of hard times is you're in such a crisis, you'll hang on to anything. But so I have a lot of rituals that work for me, which then allow me, I guess, maybe to travel more and have more fun because I'm grounded most of the time.
Oh, I like that. I need more rituals in my life.
Yeah.
Like intentional.
Intentional ones that you go like,
rituals. I
felt my nervous system calm down. And then even when you have that urge to like go again, you just check in and you go, okay, is it time to go again? Or is this just like an itch? Is this just like I'm uncomfortable not moving? That's different than wanting to go on a trip.
Right.
That means you're trying to feel something from the trip. That's two different things.
Absolutely. That's really good distinction. More like inspired
I'm here
action.
All day. I'm here on the mic all day. Making shit up, as usual.
Can we talk about dating and sex?
Sure. Please.
Yeah, because that's
my most favorite thing.
Well, if you've been with one person and then dating and then sex.
So I would highly, if your husband dies, I would say there is a benefit if you've only had sex with one other person. No, I mean, my husband was the most sexual man on the planet Earth. I don't want to speak for him, but maybe he slept with 100 people before me. He was an NFL football player, won a Super Bowl. The guy took it to the house, literally and figuratively, for a long time. And I remember when he met me, he was like, I'm done. I'm like, well, thank the Lord. I mean, what am I going to be like, 250? Like, what's the number we're stopping at? And I remember telling him I'd slept with one person, and he was like, that's one too many, which I was like, this is exactly the problem with America. He was like, you slut. How could you? I was like, I'm 19. I just lost my virginity 6 months ago. So, all of our life, there was a real sexual imbalance. He always wanted to have it, and I never did, which is very typical for a good Southern girl. I would do it, once or twice a week, begrudgingly for 5 minutes. And he was fine with it because he was a whore before me, and we had an agreement. I was a good mother. I was a good wife. But I remember thinking, like, I didn't understand what he liked about it. I was like, what is fun about what we do? Like, it was not fun to me. And if you don't move and you lay on your back, it's not fun. But I didn't know there was other ways. And so he was always great about it. We were fine. I just remember thinking it was like unloading the dishwasher. It was just something we did because the house needed it. That's just how it felt. And so when he died, I kind of felt like, Kelsey, many people don't have this horrible pain, but they don't have this opportunity. And I kept looking for opportunities, things that I never would have been able to experience that were good, just like there's so many that I experienced that were bad. I just wanted it to fucking weigh out. I wanted it to be even. I wanted to say, like, even though this happened, I'm grateful for this. And sex has been, strangely enough, I've been able to meet a couple men who have kind of changed my life around it, changed the way I feel around it. I never felt attractive. I never felt sexy. It just wasn't what I led with. I just didn't. I was an athlete and I was a mother. And so I didn't know even how to tap into that. And through the help of psychedelics and just time and maturity and men that are willing to slow down and take their time and men that really appreciate the act of a sexual connection, which you get really when guys are older. I don't know that a lot of 20-year-old men are looking for 2-hour passionate sex with multiple orgasms where people are enjoying themselves and coming in and out of an experience. And I didn't even know it was possible. So I'm lucky. And I thank Nate from wherever he is that he was like, try this, my friend. So yeah, it's kind of been the great gift of these last couple of years. I think it's made me look different, feel different.
I see it.
Yeah, I'm a new version and I used to just think that we didn't talk about sex and nobody should. And my family still struggles that I'm doing this podcast, not this one, but
the sex.
But yeah, but they'll struggle that I said blowjob, and my kids struggle. But I've also decided, like, why is this thing that's so important to like humans and humankind and having babies, like, why aren't we allowed to talk about it differently? And I still get uncomfortable when it's too raunchy or if it feels too far. Like, I know some of our friends in our group, they do like really serious, like sexual growth weekends and things. I'm not there yet. Like, I'm not on a pole yet. But I am intimately interested in connecting in different ways with a singular partner that you deeply trust.
For someone who's not feeling sexy and they want to feel sexy, was it like the couple men that you talked about? Not at the same time, I'm assuming. But
no, I'm not there yet, but a lot of people are encouraging it. I'm not there yet.
Did they kind of help you open up into that? Or is this something that over time you kind of did on your own with the healing?
I honestly think grief kind of just changed my brain. I think when you feel that level of pain, I was desiring that level of good. Like, I wanted to feel good so badly. And I think, and I actually have an article coming out. I ended up sleeping with my general contractor.
Yes, you told me that.
Right.
His cologne.
Oh, Jakar. Yeah. I just remember feeling so much pain, physical pain from grief, that I was like, I need to feel something physically different. And that meant I needed to get up on it. And I needed to black out into sex. Like, I needed to escape from the physical pain. And the one thing I found that was really physically rewarding was sex, good sex, which I didn't even know that could happen. I didn't know what was possible. And for me, it was it was just looking for joy. And I wasn't willing to just lay on my back and have someone jump on me for 5 minutes. Like that felt awful. And so I was like, what would be great? And I would be like, what would be great is if you'd listen to me. And I'm going to be in charge in one thing. for me right now. And I don't give a shit about anything anymore. So I'm going to try all of this because I have nothing to lose because I lost everything. And so it kind of opened up these doors for me to try on a whole new way of looking at sex, because I also deeply wanted to be held. My husband was really affectionate, and he was a big guy, and he was just the most loving physical man. And so sex became something that I craved because I wanted to be held. I didn't want to be screwed. I wanted to be held. I wanted to be loved. I wanted to be taken care of. And so sex became a place where I could do that. And if my friends could hear me talking about that, they'd be like, we don't even know you. But yeah, it's a great gift that most women I don't know have experienced if you get married young.
Yeah, I think you learn a lot about yourself, well, when you're in relation, right? So if there's different partners and you have different experiences, then you know how you feel about these different experiences.
Right.
What do I like? What do I not like?
And once you're married, I think there's a trade-off. And if I ever, and I hope I end up in love again with a lifelong partner, but I do think that enjoy it while you're single. If you are single, enjoy this because it won't always be. I won't always be doing this type of thing. I think I'll always have a healthier sex life and I'll enjoy it more because I've opened doors that I didn't even know existed. But I think eventually novelty is what makes it new, or not knowing where you stand is what makes it exciting. And so I'm going to stay in that spot for a while now, but I'm not fooled that I think the next time I get into a 30 or 40 year relationship that it's just going to be hot all the time. There's a trade-off that I would willingly pay again to feel comfortable with somebody and to lose some of the hot sex. But if you're in the time where you have that opportunity, go for it, because eventually you will end up with someone who feels like a brother you really love and sometimes you get naked with. And it's weird, but it's okay. But I was fine with it for 21 years. I just have advice that wherever you are, exploit the good parts of that. So if you're in grief, exploit the good parts of just self-awareness and meditation. If you're single, have great sex and learn things and try new things. If you're married, just be grateful you have someone that loves you forever, or whatever that forever is. Be where you are.
That's great advice. What you said about they turn kind of into your brother. There was a stand-up special. I think it's on Hulu. Her name's Atsuko, but she was saying how being married, eventually your husband feels like your family. Yeah. And it's kind of a mind fuck that you have to get over.
To get naked. You're like, I don't want you to see me naked, weirdo, creepo. And you're like, oh, wait, sorry, you're married.
Yes. So it takes intention, I think, to keep up. And some couples just stop having sex completely.
I have so many friends.
Yeah.
Because the longer you don't do it, the weirder it gets.
Absolutely.
The weirder it gets. And I don't know. I don't have advice because I haven't done it again. I only know my two versions: married young for 20 years, and then this crazy shit that I'm doing now that is, that I'm really grateful for.
Yeah, absolutely. There are some couples out there I've seen on Instagram who, it seems very rare though, where it seems like they keep up that polarity and I'm like, how?
Yeah.
Because I would like to learn that.
I don't know that. I hate to tell people, I hate to burst your bubble, but I don't know if it's possible. I think you can have enjoyable sex married.
Yes.
And you can have an orgasm, but I don't think you can have the feeling you have when you don't know where you stand, or you're not probably going to stay together, or you're in some weird place on a vacation. You can't do it when you have dogs to take care of or kids to take care of. There's a trade-off. Everything in life is a trade-off. So we need to stop thinking that you get it all at the same time. You don't. You can have a great marriage and you can have okay sex, but you're not going to have mind-blowing sex.
What about I've noticed...
Sorry. That's that, and that's a wrap.
I've noticed that you dress differently a little bit now.
Oh, yes.
You look great. You wear short... I don't wear short dresses anymore. You wear tight, short dresses. Tighter,
shorter. This is, again, when you go through enough, you go, wait, what are the good things I have? Exploit them. Exploit everything good in your life. I would never wear a crop top. I would never wear puffy sleeves. You find what looks good on you and just wear the shit out of it. And that's kind of where I'm at now. And I think when you have good sex, you feel sexier. I mean, there is a light in you when you're getting laid that is different.
Yeah.
That's just how it is. Yeah. And I know that's going to somehow be the clip, and my family's not going to like that. But there is a light in you when you are being lit up. And so I think what also you see in my eyes is someone who made it through some awful things.
Yeah. Your eyeballs, honestly, I was going to say your eyeballs do look different.
Yeah, I mean, I'm here. I landed back on planet Earth, but as a different person. I mean, I literally went through what feels like just the darkest of dark, doubled up on many things that happened. And then I feel like I'm back. And I feel so grateful that I think it comes out of people. Just like when you're broken, you look broken.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so with your guiding.
Yes.
I'm not going to say coaching.
Guiding. My guiding work. We're just helping people.
How can people work with you? Is it Zoom calls?
Yep.
Is it in person?
I do all of it. I do a lot of Zooms with people that aren't in the country, aren't in in California. I do a lot of in person for people here that are in LA. The goal is to like think of yourself going on a wilderness walk. You just want someone to walk with you to get from one campground to the next. That's kind of what I do, and it's normally when people are in a scary transition or a hard transition. I realize I'm not a therapist. I don't want to have someone as a client for 20 years
talking about the same thing.
I want to walk with you until you have the tools and the faith and the awareness on how you are going to make it to the other side or to the next thing. And so I have a website that's just www.kelseychittick.com. And we just talk about it. Sometimes we might just have 3 sessions. Sometimes we might have 13. It just depends. But the goal is that you don't need me anymore. The goal is that we check in with each other. I talk to a lot of people early grief. So maybe 3 weeks after trauma or sudden death or they lose somebody. And I just walk with them because I remember it. And I know what worked and what didn't. And there's a lot of loss work I do, a lot of grief work. But then there's a lot of people that are just stuck. And maybe the loss is of a relationship or a job or money or friends. And you're in a really awful spot and you hate everything. That's my sweet spot.
You're like, I know what that feels like.
Have you ever been more miserable than ever? Yeah. And I think I somehow, and when I look back on the book or stuff, I had been given a lot of gifts when I was growing up. I had a very spiritual family. I ended up at A-Fest, obviously, when my husband died. Mm-hmm. So I had a huge network of people that were really thinking outside the box in terms of death and grief. And so I got all these tools, and I was really lucky. And so early on, I kind of fought for joy, and that's what we kind of talk about. Like you don't have a lot of choices when bad things happen, but you do have one. And that's like you are determined that you don't die also, or, your life doesn't end or your career isn't over. So we do that together. I love it, actually. Sometimes I can't believe I get to do it.
Yeah. Liam, are we okay on time?
44 minutes through so far.
Okay. Cause I do want to ask cause this is like starting a new career.
Yeah. It feels like I've always done it, but just never in a professional setting. Like it seems like I've always been, that's what I've always loved to talk about to people. But before, I don't think I had the credibility to give the bullshit I was giving. I had a really good life and I was like, what you should do is meditate. They're like, why don't you go fuck yourself? Looks like things are going well with your boy and your girl and your Super Bowl champion husband. And I was like, well, now I call him back. I'm like, look at what happened. Now we should talk. The shit went bad quick. Yeah, and I use a lot of humor too in it, and I've always made jokes, but it wasn't funny because it wasn't at my expense, and now it is. Like my husband died at a trampoline park in front of my kids when I was in Jamaica. Like that's ridiculous. We talk about that all the time. So I know how people feel. I think before I had a lot of this in my head, but I hadn't experienced it. So I love what I do. I mean, I love it. I love talking to people, and I love them going, oh, that helped.
Did you have any hesitation or did any emotions come up of like, I'm starting something new?
That part, not as much, but am I going to be able to do this? Why would I think I could do this? And like, of course you can help people when you're, at dinner and you're giving them a little advice, but if they come to you and they're paying you and they're desperate for it, how do I know I'll be able to do it? And I'll tell you what I realize is most of us, if we just do our best, it's good.
Do you interview before to see if it's a good fit that you work together?
Oh gosh, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. What is a sign that someone is not a good fit or not workable for you?
You have to be open to changing everything. That's pretty much like my only thing. Like, are you willing to challenge and change every single thing about you and every belief that you have? And are you willing to really do the work? Are probably the big things. And then my North Star is always fighting for joy. So if that's not what you're going for, probably not my thing, because I'm going to get too woo-woo-y, too like that's where I go. And for some people that might not be where they
some people don't want
no,
joy.
and it might not. They're like, no, I'm not. That doesn't ring true at all. I will never be joyful again. And well, then you know what? There's probably another therapist or counselor or guide that can kind of walk you through how you're going to manage inside this mindset, and you have every right to that.
Absolutely. Yeah. What came to mind was some therapists that have the same clients for 17 years, 20 years, and not that I want to judge these people, but sometimes I'm like, from an outside perspective, when we're thinking like joy, or do you want to stay in misery?
Yeah.
I do think it's important to grieve. And I think what I have not been good at in the past is I'll bypass it, just like stuff it down. Right. But it is important to process all that. But I'm like, for that long, it just seems like it's not necessary, but it is there. I believe in freedom. So I'm like, that's your journey. Of course, like do however you want. I guess I'm just more I think logically, like, don't you want to be happy though?
I think that what I've learned, we were blessed with just a higher level of, like, some people just, their starting point is sadder than us. And so if you're already really sad, it's hard, they might be just coming up here. I was really happy before. And so I wanted to be really happy again, I think. And so what I've learned is not everybody's starting at the same point as me, and everybody has a different situation. And sometimes there's situations where it feels like I can't make that okay. Like there's some people I don't have the words or the experience to help them, because it's so hard or so different.
Yes.
But then I do always circle back to like a Nelson Mandela or a Viktor Frankl, like people who have been through the worst of the worst, and they were fighting for joy or acceptance. So I do think, I think people you just have to decide what you want this to be. And no matter what happens to you, I swear to God, you have a choice on how you react to it. That is a promise, but you get to choose that. And you have to match with somebody who you think is going to support you in that journey. Have you watched Shrinking?
Yes.
I'm obsessed with that. Like I'm him once he woke up after his wife died. Like that when I saw that first episode, when he's just like, oh God, you're bored, you're tired. Like that's me. I have a very short leash when it comes to certain things. Mm-hmm. So that's probably the clients that I like. I'm like, nope, that's not going to work. I'm tired of hearing that. We've said that 42 times. Like, we're going to need to move on or move out.
Yeah, absolutely. I like that too. I respond really well when someone calls me out on something.
Me too. Because I'm so full of bullshit. I love when someone's like, that's bullshit. I'm like, got me. You're right. Sorry.
I love it. Okay, well, if people would like to reach out to you directly, send you a DM, ask you out on a date or something, where can they do that?
I mean, I'll take all of it. I'll do guide, dates, sex, talking. No. Yeah, I mean, literally, I'm open to everything.
Instagram, is that the best place?
Instagram's a great spot.
Okay.
Yep.
And I'll put all her info in the show notes.
I love talking to you every time we see each other.
It's easy. We can keep going, but I only paid for the hour.
And people are going to be bored. I'm already bored with me right now. So there we have it. But no, thank you so much.
Okay, thanks for coming.
I love you. I'm so grateful.
Love you.
Yeah.